The name, the Millionaires Unit, was given to these young men because they had the opportunity to do almost anything in life. They came from families that included the managing partner for J.P. Morgan, one was a Rockefeller. So they were young men of immense privilege and wealth.
Most of the effort began to gain momentum as the war dragged on, more and more so with Yale undergraduates as they began to get drawn to the war effort, especially pilots. France had a wonderful lead in aviation at that time. Yale men were anxious to be a part of it.
It's fairly easy to see why these young men would think, now is the time, I want to have the chance, I want to be recruited, I want to get in these newfangled flying squadrons.
They thought that the U.S. was going to need to have air power, but the U.S. at that point had no aviation service to speak of. The entire U.S. Navy Air Reserve, when they enlisted, was about 3 airplanes and 28 young men, and so they formed a private militia using their own family funds to raise a small air force of their own, and the press took to calling them the Millionaires Unit. Being the Millionaires Unit, they bunked at the breakers. But they were serious, and they set to learn to fly as military aviators. They learned how to pull apart an airplane and literally could build an airplane by hand.
Initially, the Navy was skeptical about having aviation as a substantive part of how they conducted war. And so these Yale undergraduates actually lobbied Congress, they lobbied the Secretary of the Navy, and these, again, they're 19 and 20 years old, and eventually they convinced the Navy that it was worthwhile, and so the Navy established the first naval r.o.t.c. unit here at Yale.
By the summer of 1917, they started shipping out and did everything they could to build up an air force for a nation that had none. The 29 shipped off together. One of them washed out.
Then sent off to fly patrols over the English Channel and over the coastline areas of Belgium in support of the American war effort, and to be there through until the end of the war, some of whom later on have very, very distinguished careers.
They fought for the United States. Several of them did not return, but they led the way in the war for the rise of U.S. air power.
And it's quite a story, and it leads all the way up to our being as we are today, by far the world's #1 carrier-based naval aviation power.